Chapter 6. Laying Down the Law.
So you're going to do more than make moaning sounds? I asked the spirit who has been following me since the discovery of the body. No one else can see it, and the damn thing is either so weak or so insane that it only moans. Granted, I wouldn't be much better if I was locked in such a tiny cube for who knows how long. I'm currently sitting on my bed and just waiting for someone to show up and tell me what the hell they figured out. Apparently little fools aren't supposed to be investigating murder cases. Also, I have to have a word with Luna. She's apparently been messing with me. I try and continue listening to the spirit. I don't usually do this. Most spirits I've run into are people I myself have killed. Needless to say, they have nothing productive to say. I actually used a spell to shut them up in my previous form. Just more moaning I can't make heads or tails of. You know, following me into the lavatory was uncalled for, I tell my companion, and just more moaning answers me. You know, if you pull yourself together, I may be able to help you, I tell it, and all I get is a scream. Well, at least it was a different reaction. I try to focus more closely on the spirit, but it's just so different from someone freshly killed. The newly dead are phantoms of themselves. This is a shimmering and roiling orb of pain, regret, moaning and desperation. There are flashes of color and confusion as well. How do you help a confused tangle of emotions? I'm pulled out of my musing by the sound of hoof falls in the hallway. It's either my lunch, my aunt, or my mother. A few seconds later the door is opened. May we enter? Luna asks, and I smile. Certainly. Have a seat, I say, gesturing to where I know the desk chair is. She might be confused with my manner, but I can't tell. I hear her walk across the floor, and there's a slight scrape before a creak. I assume she's sat down. So, what's with the false accent? I ask, and I grin at the sound of her sputtering for a moment. The spirit gives out another moan for some reason. How did you figure it out? She asked me, and I raise an eyebrow. Did you honestly think I wouldn't hear you giving a statement to the guards? I ask her, and she chuckles ruefully. Fair enough. I apologize. I just wanted to have a little fun with you. Did you even really notice? She asks in return. No. You spoke with a noble's accent when everyone else spoke with a trader's accent, but you are a princess, so... I trail off calmly. Noble's accent? Luna asks me, sounding very confused. I'm from another world. Did you forget? I reply comfortably before flinching as the spirit shrieks for no good reason. What happened? Is something wrong? Luna asks, and I shake my head a little. The spirit of the dead pony is following me and screaming at random, I tell her, and there's a sharp intake of breath just before the spirit floats into my face and screams even louder, getting me to jump back. Ow! I mutter as I bounce into the wall. I feel the spirit scatter for a moment. I feel an imprint of a face with a horn on it and floating hair for a brief moment. I flinch back and bash my head against the wall with my hair cushioning the impact a little. Are you okay? What's going on? She asks in a panicked tone as she scoops me up, and I start wiggling to get some distance. The spirit floated in front of my face and screamed. Twice. I tell her with a bit of a lie at the end. What in the hell had happened there? Spirits are not influenced by the flesh unless it's their own body, so how did Luna's face get imprinted? Where is it now? Does it keep following you? She asks me, and I nod and point towards the corner of the room the spirit had drifted to. Can you understand it at all? We haven't been able to make much progress with the murdered stallion, she tells me, and I shake my head. No, he was alone for too long. Until you said stallion, I couldn't even tell gender, I say, and she lowers me to the bed. How bitter is the spirit? She asks me solemnly, and I focus for a moment. Very bitter. Angry, too, I tell her, and there's a sharp intake of breath. If there's anything you can do for the spirit, do it. It's near to becoming a Wendigo, she tells me quickly, and I look up in surprise. I really hope we're thinking about different creatures, I tell her, and there's a sigh. Oh, shit. The last thing I need is a bodiless cannibal running about. I could banish it, but it's just going to come back. I tell her, a little frantic at this point. No, that will not help. We need to find a way to soothe it, Luna tells me, and I whistle at that tall order. Then I whistle again as an idea comes to me. Finally, I whistle at the spirit and it responds ever so slightly. I think I have an answer, I say before humming to myself and watching in wonder as the incoherent spirit responds by trying to hum back. What is it? Music? Luna asks and I nod. It's responding, and music can be soothing, but I'm no minstrel, I tell her, and she starts humming herself. I raise an eyebrow and try to focus the feeling towards the spirit. That works. We need to get some music going. Perhaps. You mentioned that you can put a spell in a crystal, right? Luna asks me, and I nod. I'm going to bring you a gemstone that I want you to put this spirit's sensibility into. Can you do that? She asks further, and again I nod, not sure where this is going. After that, some of our researchers will handle this. You need to relax and heal, she tells me, and I look up at her in shock as my empty eyes fly open. I then close them as a moan from the spirit reminds me to. Why? I ask her, stunned. You're a fool. You should not have to deal with this, she tells me, and as I open my mouth to argue, she puts her hoof over it to silence me. Ew. You may have experience beyond your new age. You are also very wise and clever. I admit to all of that freely. But you are still a fool. Your very mind has been altered, and I can sense you using your magic to suppress that. You need to stop and let yourself heal, she tells me before pulling her hoof away. If I had eyes, I'd be staring at her incredulously. What gives you that sort of right? Who are you to tell me how I live? I demand, half snarling in my anger, and she calmly puts a hoof on my shoulder to steady me. I am Luna, goddess of the night, the moon, and dreams, she tells me, and I start sweating at the implication that I've been getting into the face of a god. I am thousands of years your elder, and under Christian law, your adoptive mother, she says, and I can sense her frowning. Apparently the spirit can too, as it's gone quiet. Now, as to the right, it is because I look deeper and longer into your life than my sister. I saw that even as a child you were feared, O bringer of death. Animals, plants, even the children that harassed you, all dead within the month. Yet you never wanted it, never liked it. Your whole life has been an example of mounting misery and desperate survival, she tells me, and I look away crossly. Is there a point to this? I snarl out as her words dig up much deeper than I'd ever admit. The point is that you have a chance to remake yourself. You mentioned modifying your phylactery. Why not make the rebirth in all things? A new body needs a new life to go with it, she tells me, and I face her again in frustration before absently pushing the spirit away as it gets in my face again. So you just want me to throw away everything that I am? No! I protest quickly, and there's now a hoof on my head holding me down a little. I didn't say that. Instead, you should build off of who you are. A foundation of love and joy to help bolster up the whole of your being. This quiets me down completely. I can't tell if she's being honest, but I think so. This is unreal. These sorts of things just don't happen to me, I tell her frankly, and I hear a slight sigh. The spirit comes in again, and I push it away with more force. Then, without warning, its pain shoots up my limb and burrows into my brain. Damn it! The spirit? Luna asks, and I nod while trying to glare at the wispy ball of pain. I know it's not sentient, but it seems to just hate me. Also, while things of this sort might not happen on your world, they do on Equestria. she says, and I take a moment to think on that when the spirit tries to body check me. Ugh, that's it! I shout, grabbing at the annoying thing and forcing all of its pain out of it before slamming it into the wall while bolstering its mind. I then rip out as much bitterness as I can and force energy into its sense of hope before slamming the rapidly reforming energy into the bed where it makes a physical impact. Luna gasps. Will you stop that? I demand. Then I realize what I just did. There is a fully formed and intact stallion in my sight, in my spirit sight. Can you see him now? I ask, and I think she nods. Then clears her throat as she apparently remembers herself. Yes, I can. How did you do that? Luna asks, sounding shocked. I ripped out his pain and bitterness, and I forced power into his mind and sense of hope. Looks like it worked, I say, examining the spirit in fascination. So, can we have your name, please? I ask, and stand like stunned before he nods. I'm Prince Justicar. What happened to me? He asks, sounding shocked and scared. I notice he's wearing what looks like a cut-out part of a suit with a tie. Even more interesting is the burnished scales he has for a marking. A judge, most likely. You've been murdered, I tell him bluntly, and I hear Luna gasp at that. But more interesting is Justicar, who looks panicked, but anger doesn't cross his face. So, did I remove it entirely? Oh no, I remember now. That monster, he says, his voice cracking, and almost looks on the verge of panic. What monster? Luna asks, butting in. Justicar looks at her for a moment before blinking. It looked like a normal pony, but not a pony. An insect alicorn almost, he says, sounding haunted as Luna starts breathing heavily. Changelings, she snarls, and I turn to her in surprise. I can see that Justicar is staring at her as well. She seems to notice her audience. Changelings are loathsome form shifters who feed off love. Not too long ago, they attempted to conquer Canterlot and were driven out, she says, and I nod. So an early spy, then? I ask, and Luna sighs. When I said that you are not going to be part of this investigation, I meant it. Justicar, head towards the guards' barracks. When questioned, tell them of what's happened and they will take you to the forensics lab. She tells us both, and I sigh as it looks like Justicar is about to protest before he gets off the bed and tries to leave. He freezes just in front of the door. I can't move any further. What's going on? He demands, and I curse under my breath. There's the movement of air, and I can almost feel Luna glaring at me from point-blank range. He's bound to me. He can't get any further than that, I say in a resigned tone of voice, and Luna sighs in frustration. Could this be put into a gemstone? She asks me, and I get the distinct feeling she's fighting off a headache. Maybe. I never tried to make it an anchor point, I tell her honestly, and there's an explosive sigh. Well, you are going to try, because stars help me, you are going to have a good forehead if I have to personally drag you from every murder investigation in Equestria. Luna swore with passion, and I turned my head in her direction in confusion. I don't know what to think about that. I feel myself encased in magic, and then I floated onto Luna's back. Do keep up, Prince Justicar. I want my Foal to be rid of such distasteful events as soon as possible, she says, and Justicar nods. I understand, milady. I'd be upset if my son was seeing ghosts too, he says with a slight bow. At that, Luna opens the door and races off. Justicar is basically being dragged by the limitation through midair. Who is your son? I ask curiously, trying to take his mind off his soulful status. He doesn't look old, so the changeling must have raised his child, or had his child replaced. I find that unlikely, though, as such killers tend to stuff the bodies together or do that at once. His name is Blue Blood. I can't imagine what that monster did to him, Justicar says as a look of fear crosses his face. We'll get our answers once my Foal is no longer involved in this, Prince Justicar, Luna says tersely, and he nods. What's your name, Foal? The way to aid the dead is a rare and precious gift, Justicar asked me after a minute or so. The palace is absolutely huge, so crossing it, even with the goddess doing the legwork, is a long trip. A gift he will not be using as he is going to have a safe foalhood, Luna says, sounding like she's declaring it to herself more than anyone else. That's a good way to jinx yourself, I tell her, speaking from painful experience, as she ignores me. This is nowhere near the barracks, study halls, or laboratories in the palace. Why we're near the treasure halls? Justicar asks, and I grin. She wants me to transfer what's anchoring you to this world out of me and into a gem, I tell him, and he looks surprised. You can do that with a broken horn? He asks, shocked. Yeah, but it hurts. A lot, I tell him, and he looks horrified before shooting Luna a look of disapproval. Princess, you are aware of the ghost following you, correct? Someone asks. I assume it is a guard. Actually, he's following me, which apparently is a problem, I say in the direction of the voice. So he's the guy that was found under the tiles? How? Didn't his spirit move on? The guard asked, and I gestured towards Justicar. No, I didn't. I was stuck under there, in darkness. The cold, clawing, hungry, stifling, crushing, gnawing, biting, staring, judging, laughing darkness. Justicar ran, sounding more crazy by the second, and I kicked him in the head before slamming more energy into his mind during the moment of contact. Feel better? I ask, all smiles. Did you have to hit me? Justicar asks, his eyes narrowed at me, and clearly angry. Sure, why not? I reply, and it's clearly not the answer he was looking for, as the glare increases in intensity. I open my lidless eyes, and try to match it. There's a choking noise from one of the guards. He's probably freaked out by the complete eyeless staring contest. Can you place the anchor in this? Luna asks, interrupting the contest as something now floats under my nose encased in magic. Let's see, I say, carefully taking the stone and holding it in between two hoofs. It's much stronger than a hunk of crystal, so I guess it's more precious than that. I tug at my sense of self and I feel a splinter. A tiny splinter that's grown back even as I take it out of me. The splinter moves through me and into the stone where I pour energy into it. The splinter takes root and grows until the gem itself is its new home. I then pull up the sight weight and hate that Justicar is making on me and pull it into the stone, which gladly accepts its presence. In my spirit sight, I see a proto-soul in the gem with a line to Justicar. I think that's done it, I say, holding out the gem. You think? Justicar asks testily. I don't really blame him. It's his neck on the line, after all. I've got a talent for these sorts of things, but never did exactly this before, I admit, examining the stone. It's like a cross between a phylactery and a flash rock to blind people. Death and senses, two different focuses brought together. It was mesmerizing to watch them swirl together in the stone. There's an easy way to test this, Luna says, taking hold of the stone with magic and moving it away. After a short distance, Justicar is dragged with it as well. I'd say it works, I remark calmly. I'm privately glad to have stopped staring at the rock. It smells like that which just begs someone to put a knife in you. Good. You bring this to the forensic laboratory where Prince Justicar's remains are being examined, Luna says, and I feel the gem being moved towards where I heard one of the guards and Justicars dragged for the ride. Yes, ma'am. He'll be there in less than 5, the guard says smartly. I'm about to question how he's going to get there so fast when I hear wing beats. Pegasus. Right. Now wait Justicar begins to say before his voice starts to vanish into the distance. He's out of range of my spirit sights moments later. So that's my begin to say before my stomach growls. That's awkward, I note. That means it's time for lunch, Luna says kindly. Keep up the good work, soldier, she tells the guard, and she carries me off to what I must assume is either a dining room or kitchen. As I hear the door open, I decide to make an offer. You know, I really can help with the investigation, I tell her, and she freezes up in an instant. Oh no, just no. I said you're going to have a happy, healthy, and well-rounded foalhood if I have to drag you from every crime scene in a question with my hooves alone, and I meant it. She tells me quickly, and there's a tittering from the room. It sounds like such another... What was her name again? Cadence, that's it. That sounds like a challenge, I mutter, remembering just how often I'd run into a graveyard, another necromancer, dead bodies, or ghost towns whenever I wandered. I was just drawn to such things. This is going to be trouble, a familiar voice says. Oh yeah, the guard's shining armor. Most likely, I agree, and Luna gives out a slight huff.